we're back. This is Techmath1. We're looking at chapter 8. Do 8.1. So algebraic fractions, what that looks like is this. Look at number 2 in the blue book, page 326. So we got 2a over b times 5 over 4. So when you are multiplying fractions, it's just numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. Tops and tops, bottom times bottom, reduce. So 10a over 4b, and then we reduce the numbers. So in this case, because there's variables on them, you do not want to write them as a mixed number. You don't want to have 2.5 because that would have to be all on the a. It would have to be like 2.5a over 1b. So just leave it improper. It's much easier. All right. And then let's look at number 7. Next page, we got a over mt times p minus q. And we got 1 over ak times t sub 2 minus t sub 1 times lw. Okay? And so again, lw is actually LW over 1. Put that over 1, top times top, bottom times bottom. You can do the distributive property. And that's it for that one. And this one's even easier, just say over 1, and we distribute AP minus AQ all over MT. That's it. It's actually, it's a little tougher to get your head around because it's all letters, but a little easier to understand, or a little easier to execute, because unlike when it's all variables, we don't have to reduce, there's nothing to reduce. It's just you multiply and you're done. In fact, in the book, they didn't even distribute that. They just left that on the bottom, put that on the top. When there's numbers involved, then you do have to reduce, all right? So it's a little easier to kind of get your head around because you're used to working with numbers, but it's a little harder because then you have to reduce. Okay, let's look at 8.2. Dying already? So 8.2 is reducing the lowest term. So we already had a little taste of that. Look at 13. We've got 15x squared over 6x squared. We've got 9pv over 3pv. And so when you have the exact same variables on top and bottom, you can cancel them, and if they're the exact same power, they completely cancel. And now 15/6, and then reduce that by 3. 5/2, and that's it for that one. All right. And then the second one, the v's cancel, the p's cancel, and then you got 9 divided by 3. That's just 3, like 3 over 1. So I don't 3. All right, and then let's look at 15. Okay. So again, they went more abstract. So with the numbers, we've worked with numbers our whole lives here, and now they're going with the abstract with all the variables. P squared over T, PB over RT. That's A, B, C is P plus Q for V times P plus Q. D is 20xy over 10xy. Okay, here, this time I'll do this one in blue. These are a little more complicated. All right, so here, look. C times P times B, P times P times D. Well, the P squareds and the P squareds, gone. C over T. Mind whether it's in the numerator or denominator. Right? Very, very common error I've seen in this course and other courses. People do cancel correctly, but then they put it CT. They for some reason promote that up to the numerator. It's in the denominator, it stays in the denominator. This one, you can do nothing. That just stays PV over RT unless I copied it wrong. I don't think I did. Did I copy it wrong? PV over RT. Nope, that's it. And so you can't reduce it. It is reduced. This one is, again, a little tricky because you have been taught you can't cancel things that are being added or subtracted, only things that can be multiplied. But there's if you're multiplying by a binomial that's like this, so m times this and v times that, we're multiplying, and as long as it's the exact same binomial, p plus q and p plus q, you can cancel off the entire binomial. What you can't do is pieces. If this would have been p plus q over p plus r, we just couldn't do anything. You can't take out a piece of it. It's got to be the exact same binomial, and then you can cancel it. All right? And then the last one here, the y's go, the x's go. 20 divided by 10 is just 2. 2 over 1, or 2. All right? Lovely, lovely. Then let's look at A3, canceling to reduce to lowest terms. Oh, that's sort of what I was just doing, so I'm not sure how they wanted me to do those if we weren't canceling. So A3, same deal. All right, let's look at 29. We've got 5a over 15at. We've got 4pq squared over 16pq squared r. And let's do those. So look, the a's cancel right off the bat, get rid of those. And then we reduce the numbers like how we always reduce numbers. So what goes into 5, that also goes into 15. That would be 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 15 divided by 5 is 3. And there's still a t in the denominator. So 1 over 3t. Again, careful. People do this and they cancel it, and then all of a sudden that somehow gets up to the top. So don't, it's not 3t. 3t is wrong. It's got to be 1 over 3t. All right, so like here, let's do it all canceling. I'll write this one out. If I wrote that out, that would be 4 times p times q times q. And this one would be 4 times 4 times p times q times r. And so this is the super long way to do it. Don't do it, I mean, this way unless you're really not understanding how to do it. And after you get a good understanding, you just go right off of this. You don't do it this way. So I busted them down so they're all being multiplied. 4's cancel, the p's cancel, the q's cancel. And then everything cancels off the top, so that's 1. You need a placeholder on the top. When everything goes, there's a 1 there. And then 4r on the bottom. And so that's a bit of a double standard because when everything cancels off the bottom, we don't care. If you noticed on that last page that we did, it was 20 over 10. We divided top and bottom by 10 and got 2 over 1, but then we didn't care about the 1 on the bottom. We just left it 2. All right? But when everything cancels off the top, we need a 1 placeholder for our fraction. All righty. Then let's look at 34. And that looks like this. Y over Vx over C times Vx over Cy. And we've got capital H Q over P times AP. Okay, so again, this is going to be top times top, bottom times bottom. So we have y Vx over Cy, and then the y's cancel off. So just Vx over C. Same deal here. In fact, and let's cut a step. Instead of writing it all out on the numerator and all out on the denominator, let's cancel off that P and then just have H, Q, A. And here is that double standard. See, I don't really, it is over 1 because that's what's left on the bottom, but I don't write that like that. I just write it like that. Where when the other happens and everything cancels off the top, I need to have that 1 there so it looks like a fraction. We can't just have a fraction bar in a denominator and no 1. All right? And order doesn't matter. If you're looking at your book and going, oh, wait, they have AHQ, it's fine. AHQ, QHA, it doesn't matter. Order doesn't matter when you're multiplying. All righty. Well, let's look at 8.4. Okay, so now we got 43. And it tells us to find the reciprocal of each one of these. And so let's do that, the reciprocal. So let's remember, this is over 1. So the reciprocal, you put the numerator into the denominator into the numerator. So you flip around the top and the bottom and you're done. Flip around the top and the bottom and you're done. Again, that double standard. I don't really need to say 4x over 1. I just say 4x. All right, but when it flips the other way, I need to say 1 over 3y. This one is just going to be A times B plus C. Again, if you want to distribute it and say AB plus AC, that's fine. This one is going to be 1 over X minus Y. This one is going to be P plus Q over M. So it's going to be T minus 7 over H minus 1. So again, probably very much review for everybody, right? You've worked with reciprocals before, I'm sure. So let's make it a little more interesting, like on 47. 47, they have P divided by 1/8, and they have 5C over D divided by 4A. And so physics people, if you're working physics, they do that all the time, where they have a fraction over a fraction, a compound fraction. We don't like that in math. A lot of times, instead of that divide by there, we'll write the divide by. And then that'll make a little more sense. And now hopefully, again, this will be a trip down memory lane. We never divide fractions. We multiply by its reciprocal, so times 8 over 1. And so P divided by 1/8, P over 1/8 is the same as P divided by 1/8, which is the same as P over 1 times 8 over 1, which is just 8P. All right, let's do another. Here, we'll do the little arrowy thing. So 5C over D divided by, oh wait, is that an A or a D? No, this one's a D, and that one is an A, so, alrighty. So that is 5C over D divided by 4A, and we're going to call it 4A over 1, and then we're going to rewrite it. We never actually divide fractions, we multiply by the reciprocal, so 5C over D times 1 over 4a. And now look, nothing cancels. There's no similar variables. There's no numbers that are going to go into each other. So 5c times 1 is just 5c, and d times 4a is just 4ad. That is something that in math and in this class, in any math class, you always put the number first when there's a term with multiple variables in it and a number, a coefficient. Coefficient has to come first. So you cannot write A4D or AD4. We always justify the number because otherwise it might look too much like an exponent or a power. So like the 8 has to come first, and the 4 has to come first, and the 5 has to go first. All right? Awesome. Then 8-5, addition and subtraction with like denominators. So again, this is pretty breezy. Easy breezy. Lemon squeezy. In that you're doing when you add fractions, as long as they're divided up the same way, you just add up the numerators. So this is 8-5. We're looking at number 56 in the blue book on page 339. And they have 3y over 10 plus 3y over 10. And then they have 7 over 2t minus 3 over 2t. And then they have x over 9 plus 4x over 9. And they have 11p over 4m minus 7p over 4m. Okay, so to do this, you write it all in one big long line, one big happy family. Put a 10 on the bottom, and then write out the tops, and then add. So 3y plus 3y is 6y. Do not change the sign. That is a very common error. People change the power. You don't change the power when you're adding or subtracting. You keep it exactly the same. You change it when you're multiplying or dividing, then you'll change it by less. All right, so now we reduce, because 6 and 10 can be reduced. So divide by 2, and we get 3y over 5. Okay, this one, we rewrite it with a 2t on the bottom, 7 minus 3. 7 minus 3 is 4 over 2t. And again, we reduce it, divide by 2, top and bottom, 2 over t. Put a 9 down, x plus 4x. Remember, there's a 1 there when there's nothing there. So it's 5x plus, or 5x over 9, not plus anything. 1x plus 4x, 5x over 9. And then the last one for m. So what is that? For p over 4m, and then we can divide out, reduce the 4, right? So 1p over 1m. Again, we usually don't write the ones. All right, and that's it. The next set of notes will be on 8-6.